Present.
Showalter.
Here. Everybody please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you everybody for coming tonight. It's nice to have a few new faces in the crowd. Go ahead and start with we've got public hearing on there, but no information. So we'll move on to public comment. We have Joni signed up first. Do we have anybody else on there? Scott Weber. And who else? Oh, okay. Sounds good. Joni, we'll go ahead and start with you. If you step up to the microphone, introduce yourself, and tell us what you have to say tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Printer is not very
Thank you.
clear, sorry. Good evening, I'm Joni Guyer, and first off, I want to thank each and every one of you commissioners for taking my phone call. You didn't bring me a taffy from the state fair, though.
I'm sorry.
I asked for that. Just kidding. I'm here to address the temporary camping. We do have a lot over at 1419 Cattle Trail. We have owned that for, well, Grandpa Greer owned it for 40 years, and now it's in the family, and it will stay in the family. We've had campers there for years. We have our own sewer on the west side of that shop. Sorry, my mouth is really dry. We have sewer, we have water. We just upgraded all of the electrical plugs because in looking at that was the old 3-prong plug. And don't ask me about electricity because I don't like it. And so I hired that done because that's over my head. We did have 2 campers on the east side of the shop. One has already left and taken a really fabulous job in Wisconsin, and so we did lose him already, but we have about 8 campers waiting. No, we would not put them all within our lot area in the city of Goodland. Our electrical capabilities is about 4 campers on our lot. Everything, Marty will be there tomorrow if everything goes smoothly with the commissioners tonight and everybody on board to rewire the east side of the shop and get that all where I don't have to feel bad because I have had a house fire. I know what it's like. So everything will be up to par. Again, I'm waiting for the approval McClure's are waiting to dig another sewer plug. So everybody, at this point in time, we are using a portable sewer company to come in and clean out tanks every week at our expense. Barry and I are paying for all of this out of our expense. I guess I would have had this in play a long time ago if I would have known they were all coming. According to the workers, this is the first wave of people. There are 300 more pipeliners coming yet. We as a community have an opportunity to help these people. We've had supper with them the last 2 Sunday nights in our shop over there because we have a family supper and we have supper with them. We had really good gumbo last night. So those Louisianas know how to make gumbo. But everybody's going to benefit from this, laundromats and our local restaurants, and everybody's going to benefit from this. And I would like to see us move forward with this. I understand we have codes. I truly understand we have codes and we have guidelines that we need to follow, and I get that. And we're doing everything we can to make that happen. We are also putting in more camper spots out at our other land out to the west of Goodland. So working with getting more electricity out there. Mid-America's already been there. We have a new water well as of last year out there. Again, we're utilizing our portable sewer system, and he comes in and cleans them out every week, so. This lot, I will tell you this, hasn't looked this good in about 25 years. We have really worked really hard to make it look really good for Goodland and for our community. I don't wanna see eyesores. They also know that our kids live right there, and our kids will monitor. And we brought in another dumpster, so we're getting more income, you know, more revenue brought in for our community. So that's what my wishes are, is we all make this work and do what we gotta do, and how can we make this work for everyone involved? So, 'cause we're full. And Goodland's full. But, do you have any questions for me?
I don't have anything.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Scott, you wanna step up to the mic and introduce yourself and tell us what you'd like to talk about?
Thank you, commissioners, and all those that are attending this evening. We're all here because we feel this is important. Our community is important to us, so thank you for taking the time out of your evening to come and hear my comments. I'll introduce myself. My name is Scott Weber, and I am the owner-operator of Mid-America Camp-In. It is a family business, and it is located within the city limits of Goodland. And we have been in that business since 1980. My family has. The campground was built right around in 1970. So we've been there quite a while now. Approximately 2 years ago, my mother, who was running the campground at the time, she passed away. And since then, I've stepped in to handle things at the campground. The reason I am here this evening is I've heard rumors, and now I hear as a fact, that there may be a possible change in code and ordinance that would allow short-term camping within the city limits. I don't know if this would include public right-of-ways, or if it is solely to be placed on private-owned ground. Nonetheless, I don't feel like this would be a proper thing to do at this time. I don't know what planning and zoning thinks of this situation. I just don't think you should rush into it. Why do I not think this is a proper thing to do? I think my opinion is it sets precedents for other businesses. And if you open this can of worms, you could start seeing restaurants pop up in homes that that aren't adequately built for a restaurant business. You could see mechanic shops popping up in the driveway, and all the vehicles being set in a queue out on the street, ready to go in to work on in the garage. You could see daycares pop up without going through the proper procedures. I just really think you could put your code enforcement people in a really tough situation to where they already have enough battles going on. I'm sure it's daily, somebody's in their ear. I think this would build up to become more and more of an issue. The list goes on. The protocols that you guys have put in place are there for a reason. It protects ourselves as business owners, it protects the community, and it also protects our customers. A few things that the general public may not know about being a campground owner is that we pay commercial electric to the city of Goodland. We pay commercial trash. We pay commercial water. We pay commercial sewer fees. We also pay a specific insurance for camping, for campground owners, that is also commercial. Within the property tax, we also have to pay for each individual site through to the county, a special tax for trash. There may be a slight shortage of short-term, long-term camping right now. I really do foresee this trending down by Thanksgiving. It's already started to trend down. Things are leveling out right now. The front end of the front end of the pipeline crew is just getting started. As they move forward, they'll head towards Colorado or whichever direction they're going, and the tail end will come in. It'll level out. It really will. This is the first time in my 45 years, which is quite a while, I've been mowing around same trees for a long time out there at the campground, that I've seen two big jobs kick off at the same time. One is the pipeline, and the other one is the wind turbine project over in eastern Colorado. It's never happened before. We've never had a shortage of campground sites. Some of that is due to a lot of traveling workers have decided to go with big campers rather than moteling. I feel Goodland is at a bit of disadvantage because of the old Howard Johnson / Holiday Inn hotel being closed, and also the Buffalo Inn. If you had those rooms right now, there wouldn't be a problem. And I don't think there's a big problem right now, myself. These traveling workers are fully aware of what they get into when they start traveling. I've done it. I've pipelined, I put in communications East Coast to West Coast. And it was always, as soon as we heard rumblings of where the next job was, it was a race to get to the phone and start calling real estate agents, motels, campgrounds, wherever we were gonna land, so that we could get the best affordable place as anybody on the crew. And the guys that didn't do that, they suffered the consequences by showing up late and not doing their due diligence on the next job. One of the other things is I wonder how the city is gonna handle metering the water, the electric. The huge thing for me, cause I'm in the sewer business, is the sewage. Are we just gonna dump these in cleanouts? You know, Ms. Guyer may be doing everything to the T and making it work, but that doesn't mean the next guy's gonna do it that way. You know, you start dumping sewage in a cleanout, it's gonna run right back to the house. You start backing up a house, you start backing up a main. It's not a fun situation. You put people's health at risk. Just the sewer tap saddles themselves are $200 these days. That's just the saddle to fit onto the main. That's not including the fee to dig it. And I'm not sure what your tap fees are here in Goodland, but in my hometown they're $7,500, and we are cheap, dirty cheap. Then what do you do with that sewer service that you've tapped after these people leave? The next guy coming through and digging, and he smacks that line, and there's nothing running through it. He's just gonna keep moving on, say it's trash. You run the risk of filling that line with dirt and maybe causing another blockage. Excuse me. I think it just jeopardizes the main by tapping into these more times than necessary also. The public works guys if I was them, I'd be chewing my fingernails worrying about this. I know they're very, very capable, and I respect them with, like you wouldn't believe. But I would be nervous if I was them. If you do decide to move forward with this, are you gonna permit it? And would those fees go into capital improvements, or where would those fees go? I would assume you would permit them, if it is short-term. And also, what happens to taxing on this if this does happen? Do they become commercial lots at that point, and commercial businesses through the county? Generally, I just don't think this is a good idea for a few quick bucks. I think it'll be over and done in a short while. I would just appreciate that you use careful consideration when making this decision, and think of your long-term goals. My family's been in it for the long haul, and I believe that the city of Goodland is also. I appreciate everybody's time, and it looks like you guys have a discussion item down the road, so I'll sit back, and if you guys have questions for me at that time, I'm gonna hang around, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions then, or if you'd like to ask them now, I'm happy to answer.
Any other questions now?
I've only got one question.
Sure.
How full are you?
As far as percentage,
Yes, at the campsite. How many sites available do you have?
well, my percentage right now, I am right at 85, 86% full. If you want me to disclose how many sites I have, I'm willing to do that also.
Not necessary.
I do have several sites available.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Scott.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we have no other public comment. We'll go ahead and move on to consent agenda.
If you don't mind, can I make a comment on the KOA?
Sure. Would you sign in on the sheet for us, please? Then?
Sorry.
Thank you. If you could go ahead and introduce yourself, and then tell us what you'd like to say.
Hi, my name is Sean. I am the operations manager for KCN Campgrounds. We are a franchise of the KOA Campgrounds of America. So a lot of our concerns is what has already been raised is this going to be a long-term proposal, or is this going to be a short-term that we're going to put a full end stop once the pipeline and the windmill project is done? Because if it becomes a full-time, it becomes, it can be a competitor and eat into the revenue of the campground, the Goodland KOA, because of the fact that they are letting them use anything pretty much for, and calling it a campground site. And also the fact that we have to follow the regulations for what we have to have for a campground. For instance, if you, as you guys passed the ordinance last year, that if you have 10 or more campground sites, you have to have a public usable facilities there. Are we going to, because it's possible that some of the farms here could have enough room to have 10 or more campsites there. Are we going to enforce that, or is this going to be an amendment to that ordinance? And as far as code enforcement, when we begin to allow sites being put together quickly, are the codes being checked on that? For instance, you could potentially have electrical issues because the job was just rush to get people out here. So that creates potential fire hazards. And also if we are to keep this as a long-term, the type of people that we would have coming to the Goodland area. With the housing crisis, we know that there is issues with homelessness. And when we begin to create that, that also brings that issue into the picture as well, because we're allowing anyone to have what we call a campsite, as far as even allowing like tent sites being put up in front of people's houses. So where are we going to put the regulations around that, and also making sure that the current codes are actually being followed because of how fast the sites are being put together? And and we, as of right now, only have one code enforcer, so do we have enough to actually check that and make sure that they are being put together properly?
Does anybody have any questions for him?
Got the same question as I asked Scott, how full are you?
We are probably right about 85% full. We are leaving sites for our short term, just because we're more so a short-term business than we are a long-term, but we do have a significant number of long-term. I'd probably say over 50% of our guests right now are long-term guests, and they're part of the pipeline project.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Well, thank you for everybody that came and spoke at public comments, and I appreciate you exercising your democratic right to address your government, so thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. Items A and B. Item A, the 9/2/2025 Commission meeting minutes. Item B is the appropriation ordinances 2025-18, 2025-18A, and 2025-P18. We have questions, comments, or concerns on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A and B.
I have a motion from Commissioner Redlin,
Second?
second from Commissioner Myers. Mary, roll please.
Howard,
Yes.
Redlin,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Archer,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. We have no presentations and proclamations, no ordinances and resolutions. Move on to formal actions. Item A, the police body cameras termination and contract proposal. Mr. City Manager.
And I'll turn this over to Police Chief Earhart as far as and also Assistant Chief Wright is here as well, but regarding the notice of termination to Digital Alley, and then as far as the actual proposal.
Yeah, so I believe Jake drafted up a termination for Digital Ally. We were just kind of waiting on it, on this meeting to find out when we could go ahead and send that. And then also we have an updated quote from Axon. I believe it was in the, did it get in the agenda packet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that is with, I know Commissioner Archer was pretty impressed with the draft one feature that does include that. And so what Axon did to work with us is, so it would be $20,500 when we start the contract. It's important to state that County Attorney Mangden has put up $10,000 for the start of this program. And then what Axon did next was they made our payments start in January of 2027. Our next payment would not be due until 2027. So that way we have time to budget that into the next budget. So we wouldn't have to worry about trying to scramble next year. And I don't know, I think Mr. Mayor Showalter wasn't here, and then Brooke, or, yeah, Commissioner Redlin. Yeah, I don't know if you all have any questions.
I don't have any questions. I know Axon is a quality company, and it's always, it's good to have equipment that works, especially for something like that that's collecting evidence.
Yes.
You don't want to be on the stand and have to say that your equipment doesn't work, makes you not look good, so we need stuff that works.
I guess I just wanted to confirm it's a technical issue with the cameras we have now. That's the reason why we're making this change.
Technical, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Lots of technical issues.
And that makes sense from my standpoint.
And are we confident we'll be able to work this into the budget for 2027 with the updated contract? Or the updated, pricing with the drafting? I know that's a ways away,
We-
but I wanna make sure,
We will be able to,
yeah.
one way or another. Now, it'll take some work, but we will be able to do that.
Cause I do agree that it would be very helpful for the department to have this feature.
Well, anymore, your body camera is like your bulletproof vest. You're not gonna leave your office or your home without it. We need stuff that works. We need to take care of it.
Yeah, and I know, Assistant Chief Wright has been, using the draft one feature you wanna talk about. I know several officers have used it too.
Oh yeah, they won't even take the other body camera. They're fighting over the Axon because we got like 7 days left. It really improves they can go in and instantly upload their body cam. I mean, that's almost instant, and then it drafts up a nice detailed report for them, and then they're back out there. And like I said, the officers are already excited about it. I can't say, like I said, like last time, I could talk about this all day long. How I've been able to, I even tried using it once, and I mean, it saved me about an hour and a half working some cases, and like I said, if we can get that, I appreciate you guys just giving us the opportunity and adding that feature for us, because we wasn't expecting it, but like I said, the officers are fighting over it right now, so.
I haven't got a chance to try it, cause I don't wanna get ganged up on, so.
Well, and what was said at last meeting, the body cameras and the dash cameras, the ones in the vehicles, there's almost an expectation now that it's almost a required piece of equipment anymore. And so that's why this has become such an issue, because when the officers have to go to court on a case and the equipment is not working for one reason or another, it almost becomes an obstacle for the prosecution to proceed in a sufficient manner. And when it's really just, it literally wasn't that long ago, we didn't have body cameras and dash cameras, but now it has become an expectation in the legal world, so.
And to add to that, like, I think the community demands it too, because like I spoke before, every time we go somewhere, we're on scene, we're getting asked, is your body camera rolling? And then a lot of the times our officers hit that button, or when we hit our lights, it's supposed to activate and then doesn't, and then you can only imagine how us trying to explain, well, why we don't have that video. Just today, I was missing 3 videos. I don't know where they at. So.
I can't log into my dash camera. Well, it's sporadic for my dash camera, and then I have another officer that his body camera is turning off and on by itself. So,
Gotta get equipment that works.
Yep.
I'll make a
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to terminate the contract with Digital Ally Incorporated, and then to propose that we move forward with the, do we need to do 2 separate? Sorry, maybe I should do that. Do we need to do 2 separate, or
No, Jake says no, so go ahead with
just
the vote.
do one? Okay. So terminate the contract with Digital Ally Incorporated, and then move forward with the contract with Axon for the grand total of $254,305 spread over
5 years.
5 years to January 2030. Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Redland, a second by Commissioner Howard. Mary, roll please.
Myers,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Redlin,
Yes.
Archer,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes.
I hesitated because the termination date is the date in the letter, right? Okay.
I think it's December 1st.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that needed to be part of the motion. But that's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Move on to item B, KDOT traffic
Okay.
impact study.
Mayor, members of the commission, this has come up basically in our discussions with Merchant McIntyre, talking about possible projects, and one of the projects is related to the industrial park and a possible second entrance if or when the grain mill and bakery project move forward. Talking about a second entrance into the industrial park would be much easier for the semis. The first step to that, Andrew Bruner with EBH discussed the proposed entrance and the requirement of a traffic impact study with Eric Oldschlager of KDOT. And Eric said, recommended to go ahead with the traffic impact study now, even before any grant application is submitted, because it's part of the basic requirement. It would be $5,000, which is actually within the spending authority for the city manager, but wanted to go ahead and to let the public know and also let you all know that this is one piece of that want to move forward with, if the commission approves.
So this is like step one of,
Step one of 100, 200
Yeah.
steps. but,
Yeah.
Is there any reason why, I mean, will we need to wait until after that construction is done there? Does that affect
No,
the results of any traffic study?
no.
Okay.
Because before they even put the lights up, KDOT will have traffic counts along K27 for the bridge project itself, so.
Any other questions? I'd make a motion to move forward with the KDOT traffic impact study.
a second.
I have a motion by myself, a second by Commissioner Artzer. Mary, roll please.
Myers,
Yes.
Archer,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Redlin,
Yes.
Showalter.
Move on to item C, Piper Sandler Financial Services Letter.
Been talking with the bond attorney, Kevin Cowan with Gilmore and Bell, but also as part of that, ended up talking with Clayton Kelly from Piper Sandler, which is the actual financial services firm that would sell the actual bond coupon notes on the bond market in coordination with the bond attorney. The bond attorney does the legal part of it. The financial services person works on the financial end of things. This is basically in an engagement letter, the start of an agreement with Piper Sandler. They do not get paid unless we actually move forward with the actual bond. The actual bond being discussed is for the 8th Street project, and trying to put that together so that we can get that completed by the end of the year. So we have monies next year to start with finishing the design plans and specifications, and then sending out the invitation for bid and hopefully doing the construction on the project next year.
Okay.
So this is just an engagement letter, more or less?
That's what I call it.
Yeah.
But it's signing an engagement letter. If we choose, there is items within the engagement, the agreement, that, provides a scope of services, which is 19 different things. They do have limitations on those scope of services. If we don't want to use them at some point, we can terminate the agreement with or without cause. That's in section 8 of the letter. Terms of the agreement shall begin on the effective date and ends unless either early terminated. But the agreement may be terminated with or without cause by either party upon the giving of at least 30 days written notice. So if for some reason we get in a consternation and cannot extricate ourselves, we can terminate the agreement.
What? Couple $1 million words there.
Try to use 3 $10 words. I didn't get to the third one, so.
Any other questions for our city manager on this letter?
So the $650 per thousand, is that kind of standard fee that they charge?
Yes, sir.
All the companies charge?
Yeah.
Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion to, I guess, sign the engagement letter.
I'll make a motion to sign the engagement letter with Piper Sandler Financial Services.
A motion by Commissioner Redlin,
Second.
second by Commissioner Myers. Mary, roll please.
Redlin,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Archer,
Yes.
Showalter.
Yes. All right, move on to discussion items. Item A, the temporary RV parking. So I guess I'll go ahead and kick off here, and then I'll kind of turn it over to Kent for a little bit. I think, you know, I'm very appreciative of everybody coming in tonight to give us your feedback. Of course, you know, I got to talk to Joni on the phone the other day, who expressed some concerns and some things that she wanted us to take a look at. This is definitely one that I've put some thought into over the last week, kept me up the last couple of nights actually thinking about kind of what the ramifications are. I think when we make decisions, anytime we talk about ordinances and laws and things like that, we have to look at the unintended consequences of things. And those are the things that weigh heavy on my mind, because, you know, I don't want to be, you know, quick to a decision and then later look back at it and say, well, now why did we do that? We didn't think about this part. And that's the part that always scares me about, you know, making decisions like that. So I think this is a necessary process that we're going through right now. This is part of how our government is supposed to work. If you have an ordinance or law you don't agree with, you petition the government to take a look at it, and you review that information, and then we make an educated decision, or the best educated decision we can possibly make. And yeah. So I had a chance to talk with Kent a little bit earlier today about some of the things we could look at as options. So I guess I would turn it over to Kent and let you talk for a little bit about what some of the options could be. I know we could start off with option one, which is don't do anything at all. Or we could look at some other things that are possibilities that Kent has looked up and researched. And I guess I'll turn it over to you and let you talk to us about some things we
Sure.
could look at.
I didn't include in the packet, just because I was out of town on vacation with family, taking my parents somewhere. Didn't provide additional manager memo to be included in the packet. I printed one off, included at your spaces now. What came about was there was a request to allow RV parking or RV parks on a property, to locate on a property in a residential zoning district. Currently, and as was included in the CCCF, which was well crafted by Zach, is kind of the issue that brought this about. And that there was a request to do this, and that currently this is not allowed on a residential lot. It is allowed in the commercial zoning district, as far as for RV parks. There's a couple different ways that this can be approached. The first thing, and then RV parks require, just like was stated by the two gentlemen that run RV parks currently, and I know, and Joni mentioned it as well, and what she's trying to provide to the campers at her spot. But any RV park, you know, they're gonna have to provide utilities and a standard issue parking space. They're gonna have to have water. They're gonna have to have sewer. They're gonna, some method of that, and they're gonna have to have electricity. And how is that gonna affect not just the location of the park itself, but how that fits in with the neighbors around, wherever that is located at. So that's part of the reason why in our code, it basically puts it as in commercial zoning instead of in residential zoning. But, you know, if we wanted to move in that direction to allow it in residential zoning, if we have a need that's not being met, what are possible solutions to that request? And as you mentioned, Mayor, the first one is, well, we don't do anything at this point. We keep it as is, keep looking at whatever the current facilities are, or at lots that are in commercial zoning. And that kind of segues to the second possibility, which is have the property owner for the lot in question request a rezoning application to change whatever the property is from a residential property to a commercial property. Then it could meet, you know, if it was commercial zoning, then it could work towards meeting the requirements, the criteria for an RV park, because there's even some additional criteria within commercial zoning, because it can't be on a
and then depending on what you're serving, there's a certain amount of square footage per RV, camper, tent, mobile home.
so there's a size requirement. Part of that is the size itself, but then it's also part of the utilities for that, and how close do you want all those different people together? And what's the look that you want for the city as a whole? But that is a second option. So we got two so far. We got, don't do anything. We have asked the property owner to change the zoning to meet, and then try to meet the criteria for that's stated in the code. The third option would be to change the code to allow RV parks as a standard use in a residential lot. Make it equal for residential lots as well as commercial lots. Well, just like the issues that have been brought up, those, once you would have it as a standard use on a residential lot, then other issues come to the forefront. It becomes, you know, just like someone mentioned, what type of business, because an RV park is a business, you're making money at it. Is that commercial activity? Do you want that in that neighborhood? Do the neighbors want that in that neighborhood? We've had a couple similar issues of residences with sort of not commercial stuff going on their lot, and little consternation from the neighbors, a little back and forth just with that. And it has nothing to do with this RV parks, but it gives you a sample, gives you a flavor of what could happen. There's also, you know, it would still be the size requirement, and Goodland doesn't have a whole lot of properties that are fairly large. There are some communities that do have quite a few lots that are 1 acre, 2 acres. Goodland doesn't have a huge amount of those. Most of our lots are significantly smaller than that. So that would be an issue as far as trying to create an ordinance to allow it in residential lots is the same as we would in commercial lots. There would be other issues as well, but that's just an example. So we have three possibilities. A fourth possibility would be to change the code to allow RV parks as a conditional use. And a conditional use means there could be certain conditions or certain criteria that would have to be met. It will also require a public hearing. There's a conditional use process within the code already set up for certain types of conditional use permits we already do on different topics. But And you can set up that criteria and have any sort of criteria that you want. You can have an expiration of that conditional use or a requirement to renew. So the issue of time, like the one gentleman said, as far as, is this gonna be from now until whenever? Or is there gonna be a deadline when it will be allowed? And if you would have an expiration or a renewal requirement, that might, I'm not saying it's perfect, but it might address that concern that's been raised. Are you going to allow it? And you can do other things. You can say it's a conditional use and it's only allowed for this amount of time. And but you can go through the criteria that the commercial properties have to do as well, as far as there's additional criteria for the RV parks and commercial, and see what should be required in a residential lot so that it's somewhat an even playing field. And, but there isn't it, you know, as it's come about, that's why the request came to us, is because there are some people with some needs that have expressed, have asked for it, and that's why it came to staff as a question. We didn't have an immediate answer because they're just some of the stuff that we're talking about. It's not an easy yes. You know, the easy thing is just to say no, but the thing is trying to figure out, could there be a yes? And so that's what staff has gone through. And so those are the four main options that I see. And staff is just looking for direction. Now, each of those processes, as far as changing the code, does take some time. You know, like other ordinances we've done quite a few things with the zoning code over the last 2-3 years. And, you know, a lot of those take 60 to 90 days, if you're being quick about it, to make that change. This is not a 1 or 2 week process. This is because it does take publications. It takes a public hearing, a recommendation from the Planning Commission, and then it comes back to the City Commission. So, and then if the Planning Commission says no, or the City Commission says no, or, you know, like we always present to you on the City Commission, it can say yes, no, or send it back for some more information. So there's a maybe in there too. You know, it's a process, and for good reason. It was put in the code originally to not have in residential areas because there are concerns. But, you know, there's possibly some lots that it could work in Goodland, especially if there is what we perceive as the need for additional lots. You know, staff also talked before I was gone last week, but the week before, staff met with the county and about lots at the fairgrounds. Now, they currently have lots that work during the fair. That's kind of a different issue, you know, for Fair Week. But for long-term stays at the fairgrounds, we went over all these different criteria with Sherman County. We went over the water situation and a connection for water. We included Neil, as far as superintendent of water, regarding how that can occur. We went over the sewer situation, you know, and we mentioned to the county, you know, be aware, people, it's nice now, people can move their trailers fairly easily. But once it gets to January and February, they are not going to want to move their trailer and to be able to dump their sewage. So what are you going to do? How are you going to handle We also talked to them, they have power there, but power during the winter may be a different issue than power during the summer. And how much they will use for the people who actually are staying at the RV park. And the hard surface at the fairgrounds. It's basically, you know, it's very hard packed soil, but, you know, is it going to sink once we get our snowstorms in the winter? So it's all those issues that came up. And it's not that staff was wanting to discourage the Sherman County from proceeding. It's just, we got to look through these issues so we don't have bigger issues later on. So I just use that Sherman County example as an example for anyone else in a residential situation. And again, staff is just trying to figure out, okay, we don't want to say no, but we want to find out first, is it even possible, or what are the problems, what are the snakes in the grass, before we say absolutely yes. So, I've talked for long enough, I think, so if that gives you a kind of a good basis or foundation for discussion regarding the topic.
Well, I think that's definitely a good jumping off point, as usual, Kent. I appreciate your level-headed approach to issues, and one thing I appreciate about you is that you give us the information and you give us the choices, and you say this is what we could do, and you let us make up our minds. So I appreciate that. So I feel bad that you know, initially with this project, they didn't come and ask us about it, but we were notified about it, you know, a couple of months ago. And I feel like if we had known that there would be this many campers here, that this could have been a problem we could have talked about earlier or tried to tackle. I didn't feel like, or didn't, I guess, understand at the time there'd be that many campers that were coming. So I feel bad that this is a problem we're talking about now, and that the process, you know, I mean, government takes a while sometimes to get things done. So we don't move particularly fast sometimes. So I feel bad that we weren't able to talk about this till now, but here we are. And I just want to be perfectly clear that nothing that has ever been said by anybody up here would in one instance make anybody from these pipeline companies feel like they weren't welcome here. Business is booming. We want them to come to Goodland, but we want things to be fair too. So that's my piece for right now. I'll step back and let the rest of the commissioners kind of give their thoughts and opinions. And
Well, I would like to ask Bert to come up and give his opinion on how many campers, people that he thinks are gonna be coming into the community. Just a ballpark.
Bert, introduce yourself to everybody so they know who you are.
I have to have these on to see, so you're gonna have to deal with that. My name is Bert Mosier. I am the Economic Development Director for Sherman County Community Development. I think a lot of you know who I am, so. I've listened to what everyone's had to say. I would have liked a notice too, because we didn't get any notice that this was gonna happen. We just kinda got surprised by how it was going. What I feel's been left out is we have another crew of 130 people that's coming in, because they're going to build the electric line that connects the windmills into the point of transmission into the system, and I have no idea where that is. But I received a call from a gentleman from Chico, California, who said he was the foreman of that crew, and he was bringing 130 people with him. We also have another crew coming in that is the railroad crew. If you notice along the railroad, you see all of those ties that have been put there and all of that. I haven't been contacted by the railroad, but I've been told that the crew is coming in to do that as well. So it's not as simple as just two crews. We have a quadruple sort of situation going on here. We were told 650 people with the pipeline, and we've never gotten a number on the, as far as the windmills go. Although yesterday, no, it was last week, I guess, because yesterday was Sunday. I did get calls on Sunday too. But I had a guy that was bringing his crew in from Iowa that didn't know he was coming here. So they were windmill people.
Because there's two windmill projects going on.
There are,
The redo of the old windmills over here,
Mhm.
and then the new ones that are being built north of Burlington.
yes. And then there's another crew that's gonna be coming in next year who's going to be doing the one in northern Wallace, southern Sherman.
Right.
So we'll have them as well. But without having real contacts with these organizations, it's really hard to tell. We're just taking the information that the people who are calling. I received 5 calls today for RV spaces. And that has been going on for about 3 weeks now, maybe a month. And I've worked with KOA, they're very easy to work with. We appreciate their staff. They tell us if they can't meet the request, or if they're looking for housing or something like that, they give us a heads up so we can try and help them get a house, that sort of thing. We're trying to work with everybody, but it's kind of an unknown factor, but according to what we've been told, there's more to come and they're gonna keep coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, how many do you think have come so far percentage-wise, just the ballpark?
Oh, I have no idea because I don't ever see them. I mean, I don't ever see them all in one group. I mean, a lot of our contact is done by Jeremy Cloyd, who's a member of my board, and he owns the laundromat and the liquor store, so he has been a contact for housing, contact for RV spaces. We've had a lot of contact with people that way, and you know, I know there's 5 or 6 guys that are living in this house. There's, you know, people are renting the houses that they're trying to sell because they're not leaving the market. So we have a lot of people in town, and I would just encourage the council to the best we can do to take advantage of all of them that are here. We want them to spend their money here. That's what it boils down to.
I know, in my opinion, I get calls where I'm the landlord. I get calls, people wanting a rental, something to park a camper on. They say Burlington's full, Colby's full, every place else is full.
Yeah, Burlington's
Where
full.
do we go? And why don't we need to take advantage of that. Short term, take advantage.
I would agree. I think a short-term option, I don't think we should go insane and change the ordinance that you can park a camper anywhere in Goodland. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we should figure out a short-term situation that helps take care of these people and keeps bringing the financial help into this community, because it's been huge. Go up and down Main Street. I haven't talked to a business much yet that has. I mean, I talked to Christy at the flower shop the other day. She said the guys have been in sending flowers. You know, the restaurants, the bars, everybody is taking a hit with this, so it's a good thing. I encourage you to do what you can. If anybody has questions, I'll take them from the crowd too.
No.
See, Johnny, give these guys a break. They're just here to work. They're not here to get tied down.
I can answer that question. Bill Bierman told me that this is the first time ever that he's had to send a bus route through KOA campground.
Yeah.
So, they're,
Really?
yeah.
All of
Oh.
ours have families, whole
Mhm.
families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just a worker.
You know, and I don't wanna take anything away from the 2 camping locations. I want you guys full.
Yeah.
You know, but we as a city need to take advantage of everything, the tax revenue and everything that comes along with it, if possible.
I don't disagree with that in any way, shape, or form. I just am nervous about the long-term effects of putting a short-term campground in.
I mean, it needs to be done the right way. It needs to go, is electrical on that pole gonna carry these 4 campers? Is the water line big enough for the 4 campers? Is the sewer there? How is that all needs to be put in writing and down to the T's and cross all them and make it all right.
You know, Scott, I certainly appreciated you coming to talk tonight, giving your point of view. Number one, when, you know, I thought about this week, not once did it cross my mind that, we were creating could potentially create an unfair advantage for somebody that would start something. So I definitely think that, you know, whatever direction we take needs to make sure that these places are meeting the same criteria that you are, cause it's not fair for us to say, hey, you know, we might take business from you because we wanna start this in town here.
Yeah, thank you for that. And it's not just, it's not necessarily about taking business from me. Myself and my family, we've paid our dues, and we will continue to pay our dues. We've seen good years and we've seen bad
Right.
years. This is probably gonna be a good year. You know, if you're in it for the long haul, I don't have a problem. You do whatever, you know, whatever you wanna do. But just recognize that, you know, we've been here for a long time, and there's a reason. And I don't think there's too many businesses, you know, there's a few within the city limits, but, and quite a few within the county, but not too many of them have been around for 4 or 5 years. And we've seen, like I said, we've seen a lot of trends. You know, we used to see the custom cutters come in waves. And, you know, I was 11 years old out there, and we ran 144 campers out there. It's unbelievable. And then that trend just tapered off. You know, equipment got bigger, trailers got bigger. Instead of housing 2 or 3 guys, they're housing 8. You know, so there's been a lot of different things in that.
We certainly appreciate your longevity. You guys are an important part of the community, just like the, you know, Joni, you guys are an important part of the community, but so are the pipeliners too.
Sure,
So,
absolutely.
you know, we don't wanna create an unfair advantage.
Are there residential lots that are currently housing campers at this point that kinda just did it without asking?
There's one person up on Caldwell. They're not housing the RV for anybody else, it's for themselves,
Okay.
while they're getting their house redone for electrical reasons.
Okay.
Take that care of. As far as elsewhere in the city, there probably are, but I don't know of any that are currently under observation. Or, you know, want to say that they're doing something wrong. We do get, haven't had any complaints of that as yet. I don't know if you have, Zach.
Not major ones. But then it gets hard on the code enforcement side of things because either PD has to sit and babysit them at night to see if people are coming in and out of them, or I have to sit there all day and just look at that one camper and not pay attention to anything else. So that's where it gets difficult on that side of things. I mean, obviously, if they got shoes and all sorts of stuff sitting outside, I've had 5 or 6 campers pulled off the lot since I've been in this job.
Kent, one question I had, we talked about our 4 options here. What about an option 5 where, I don't know how, feasible this is, but a temporary code that allowed the temporary conditional use. Like option 4, where we put an expiration date on it, so we put a code in effect for 2 years. Just pull a number out of the air that we could follow item 4, but only for 2 years. And then once that 2 years expired, then that wouldn't be available anymore, just as a way to get us through this point right now. And I don't, you know, if the numbers come in like they are, then nothing we're gonna do tonight or in the next few months is gonna be able to accommodate the number of people that could be coming.
I think there's a way to accomplish that. I don't have something immediately off the top of my head, but it would take discussion between staff and the legal staff, and then take it through the planning commission to get their feedback as well. But I think it could be done, yes.
Almost like an emergency type ordinance, but you know, I like the options within number 4
Yeah.
that requires conditional use in the, residential zoning would require the, you know, the property owner to come to the planning commission and make that request. But I don't know that I feel like I want something hanging over our head for the next 25 years that this could be around. I mean, like I feel like, you know, we need to bend a little bit here to try to take advantage of, and I shouldn't say take advantage, bend a little here to try to accommodate more taxpayers, but not always have this on the books.
Yeah, I have on what I've been just writing with my notes, I have potentially a lot size requirement, camper limit, and then a time limit are the three things we could hope maybe accomplish with this.
Well, and I go back to what is the requirements for the RV park in the
Yeah.
commercial zone.
Yeah.
There's a list of criteria there. I think that's a starting point.
What?
Code is 19-502 item T if you wanna look it up.
Which all that stuff would be incorporated into option number 4
Right.
anyway, right?
It's also
Right.
in chapter 9.
It would be, what are the additional things? And that's, we're not asking the city commission to identify all those additional, you know, if you do have something to identify, great. But we aren't asking, this isn't a pop quiz and saying, we want to know if you have an answer or not. What we really want is staff direction, what should we pursue? And that doesn't mean that we'll get to the end, or that it doesn't look a little bit different while we create it. But what should we pursue? What should staff spend time on to try to get done?
Hey, city manager, are you talking about turning the places into temporary commercial? Or are you just allowing?
No, I would say as a conditional use.
Okay, I was just
Within-
checking because then
within
you
the
have the
residential
noise
zone.
ordinance that they're exempt from, and that would be a big problem.
Yeah.
For us.
That,
PD.
that would be, that's another issue. And that's one of the reasons why there's been a restriction in residential plots, because like we said earlier in the conversation, you may meet somebody and they may be okay for a little bit, but late at night, they turn into
A gremlin.
Mr. Hyde or Mr.
There you go.
Jekyll, whichever other one they are.
I mean, but that still goes into a play, like if my rental house, those people could be good during the day and they're,
They can.
you know, at night, so.
About 20 times already.
Yeah, sure. Not my house.
Mayor, and one thing that, from the police department side, that you consider, if you throw a number, 3 campers on a lot, is for the purposes of emergencies, like if you go to KOA or you go to Mid-America, they're lot numbers. So we need to be able to identify when we get there who's having a heart attack and needs CPR right then. So they need to be marked somehow if there's gonna be more than one at that location. I just ask that be looked at.
And that's
if-
part
if
of the
you proceed with
application
it.
for the conditional use, is there has to be a site plan. And it can't deviate from the site plan, saying, well, they didn't like it on this side of the building, so we're gonna move it to this side of the building, you know, that type of thing goes on. But those are issues, yeah, they can be overcome, but they need to be identified as early as possible, so it's part of the application.
I don't know how you guys feel, maybe part of the direction could be something like this, but if we, you know, explore this item number 4,
Yes.
if we just say, you know, we're not interested in any regulations that would be less than what's already required of our RV parks. Would that be, what are your thoughts on that? If we require all the things that we're talking about with lot size and number of campers allowed per lot, are we interested in pursuing an ordinance that allows these temporary lots to be outside or less than what we already require of our RV lots here in town?
The one caveat I would have with that is that the size requirement would make it awful difficult for any residential property to qualify.
So we have what we already do with the variance, right? So they could do
Yeah,
that.
there would have to be a variance involved with it.
And I say that because I guess I am not interested in allowing anything to happen that would provide an unfair business advantage to somebody that was gonna start one of these temporary lots in the next couple of years. Or maybe I'm off base. You guys tell me if I'm out of line.
I don't think so.
No, I think you're right on. I mean, it's just the emergency portion of it right now, because it's already here.
Mhm.
And we're looking at timing at this point in time.
Right, and I think we can talk about the ordinance or proposed ordinance, but I don't wanna say, let's draw up number 4, but let's make it easier than what we're already making KOA and Mid-America jump through. I think everybody should have to jump through the same hoops.
Yeah, I agree.
They should follow the same rules, the same ordinances, the same regulations.
I think we can write it up that way, and then we can get something that we can see in front of us. And then we can start making our determinations from there.
How many square feet did you said it took per camper?
I wanna say it's 1,000 off the top of my head.
So
But
Johnny,
there
how
has
can you,
to-
can you put on your property then?
There has to be 18 feet also that separates to provide room for slide outs, and as well, you don't wanna be walking
Right.
Right
next
next
to.
to-
Yeah.
Sure.
A fire hazard too, you know, you
Yeah.
can have one camper catch fire, you don't want the other one to catch fire either.
So the one camper we have on the west side is 32 feet right now. We never hear this kid, he's a turbine, he works nights. He's grumbling about the wind because he hasn't worked the last 5 days. And he said, we can't work when it's windy, and I'm like, you are not gonna work.
Yeah.
The other crew we have on they're both turbines, and we hear nothing out of it.
How many campers, with what Zach just said, how many campers can you actually get on your property?
We
What do
can
you,
actually hold 4
for?
legally and safely, and I really want to firmly say safely because of the power, electrical portion of this. I have traveled that road for years on Harvest Crew raising our kids. It is comforting to know that, of course, we didn't have slide outs then. These campers are mammoth with these slide outs. And the one that was there that moved, they were probably 15 feet apart from each other, and, they have no idea what winters are like up here. None of them are prepared for this, so we have a load of straw bales coming if this goes through, because they have no idea.
Yeah.
They cannot afford
Johnny?
to have
No.
matching screws.
No, you don't. You can't put straw bales under, it's a fire hazard.
Okay, so how do we prevent from them all freezing up? I mean, this
They-
is an issue for all of them, not even at all campgrounds.
The ones that were out at the campgrounds last year that I had removed their straw bales went and got actual foam insulation and then had to
Okay, foam
fabricate
boards.
underneath,
Gotcha.
and they still froze up.
Yeah, they're gonna, so, the one on the west side, yes, I understand we can have one camper, and if that's what we're allowed, we'll just leave him there, cause he is quiet as a mouse. He is prepared, he's got heated hoses, heated everything. He has dealt with winters, but the other guys, all these other crews, they have no clue what our winters are like, and they are not prepared. So I try to firmly say, hey, you need to be prepared. And I'm just trying to, I don't wanna take business away from anyone, that is not my deal. We've had Harvest Crew stay with us, our hired man stayed with us for 4 months last year on our lot. So, we are equipped. We don't have, our sewers have never backed up, and we've never had issues with any of that.
To me, this isn't necessarily a business issue, just in my mind, this is a housing issue. We've got folks that they're gonna be here no matter what.
Yep.
We need to help accommodate them somehow. They're coming, they're helping us, they're doing things for our community, we need to help them. And that's more where I'm standing. Yeah, I agree. We need something in front of us, and I don't know what that is right now. The only thing I have crossed out on my sheet is that we deny the request, because I think that's just not the right move here. We need to accommodate some of these folks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
So the one camera we do.
Hold on, Jim.
I would also consider this isn't just about allowing it to happen, right? The idea of saying accommodating and all that stuff. As we have said, the code is there to protect your people and your structures and all that stuff. But I'm also gonna be honest with you, those codes are also there to protect them too. Okay? We don't just have the assumption that everybody in town is intending to do it the right way.
Right.
Agreed.
So, always keep that two-way street flowing in your minds too.
So we have to have guidelines in place, either way.
Right, and, I mean, there's something there for a temporary, if you're working on your house, you can get a, 30 and another 30-day extension.
Yes, under my discretion.
Right.
For the building permit side of things, you're talking more so if you have family coming to town, they're gonna be here for 2 or 3 weeks, they're bringing their camper,
Right.
then you can come and apply for a temporary permit to park, and then you also have to turn in a site plan with that. It has to be approved by Kent and myself, and then that can only be extended for another 30 days in a year's period of time. So from the date of the first issue of the permit, you gotta go a whole year back to it before I can do it again.
I think we have a lot of smart people on staff that can come up with something that can work for everybody.
Jake always says, use our people, so let's
Yeah.
use them.
That would be my direction. I think that you're hearing kind of what we're all saying, and I think we just need to maybe get creative. And
Is there something we could write in there, like if the 2 RV parks are, say, 75% full, that this would enact? That you could do something like that?
That's a lot of, I don't know.
You could put it in, but I would find it very difficult to do.
Then I feel like you're gonna run into like logistical things there, like, I'm just, Scott, maybe he's at 72 and he can take a camper in, and then, someone calls in and says, hey, Scott, you have room for a camper? He says, yes. So then we enact this, and then that falls through. So then do we deactivate it immediately? That's just the simple thing right there.
It
I
was
don't
just
know.
a thought.
I don't.
I think I would be cautious about that as well, right? We always talk about, you can't always look at the table of who's sitting there today, right? So we got 2 great owners, they do a great job with their properties, they're not problems. Well, let's say they sell it, and it's to some fly-by-night it, or somebody that, quite frankly, I don't know, buys a big hotel with a whole plan of doing a renovation that we're dealing with. Or has another big hotel, it's like, oh, we'll do the greatest job and we'll have a restaurant right in the middle of it. These are just hypotheticals, guys, we've never dealt with that before. But to do it that way, right, then you're creating a triggering effect that would constantly put it on them to report their numbers.
Yeah.
Or, in the worst sense, they're gonna wanna report their numbers just below what that's gonna enact, right? Not, these guys wouldn't do that, but I'm just saying, I would be cautious of that as well.
I would be interested in seeing, an option for number 4 with an expiration date.
Yes.
I agree.
Sounds reasonable.
Yes.
Can you repeat that?
I said I would like to see, option 4, a write-up for option 4 with an expiration date.
And with the meeting,
Thank you.
like the guidelines for an RV park, correct?
Correct. With as much of the current, stipulations for RV parks as can possibly be done feasibly.
With a variance to lot size.
I mean, I'd like to take a look at it, see if we can draw something up.
Yeah, I would agree.
Can I
Sure.
say something? I think if that's the route you guys intend to go down, I would put if you're gonna call it short-term camping, I would put short-term limitations on 2 years is too long. I think it should be reviewed at least every 60 days, if not monthly, to say, where are we at with this? How are things looking? You know, do we need to shift them into a commercial zone? You know, or, you know, do they need to start that process? That's my thought.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
One other thing, I know we're way past this point in the discussion, but I've been aware of the pipeline project for 2 years. And the wind turbine for a year and a half.
Mhm.
I've had the pipeline guys staying with me for over 2 years, the landowners.
Why didn't you share that? That would have been major information for businesses like myself, for renters, or for landlords like JJ's. I think revisiting this every 60 days, if you do go the short term, would waste your time. We know this pipeline's gonna be here, as we've been told by the head guy out there, minimum of a year, he'll be here, if not longer, depending on the weather. Then we're told the power line's coming through after that now. If we have to come back after every 30, 60 days,
Quick discussion.
it's, you know.
Just an idea.
It is an idea, I agree with it, I agree. I like the ideas that are coming up, and I understand from these two guys, from the, KOA, I have talked with them a lot over the years. Great people, I've not talked with Scott, you're the first time today that I've seen him. But, we got a family of 4 in today, 1 guy working. And so we're looking at potentially at a lot of people, we got 2 kids coming in every morning for breakfast, they're just singles. Again, you made a comment kind of sort of earlier, we need to take advantage of their money, which is not the way to put it, but we've got these people coming, if they're staying in Sharon Springs or staying in Burlington, we get down here early. And so, the short-term accommodations to really, I think, are a great idea, you know, a conditional thing, yes, following, you know, code guidelines for power, water, sewer, and everything else. You know, I think it's a good possibility to help out all the ground. Concerns about, you know, hooking up a sewer connection up, that goes back to the land, you know, as far as most of that, as I understand it. And if somebody digs into it, there's probably a big save that's coming after you for digging into it, by mistake. But I think, you know, as a community, you know, we're seeing, for us, the restaurant, we're seeing it boom right now. I mean, it's not, you know, tenfold of what we had, but, my sneakers are pretty well bald right now the last 2 weeks, from running in and out, so, you know, it may be a short-term thing, it can only be 2 years, or maybe only a year and a half, whatever.
Yeah, and I guess I should have made, my statement earlier a little bit more clear. When I said 2 years, I mean the expiration on the ordinance altogether. Like, I want, at 2 years, I would want the ordinance to just completely go away. But within that, we still have to continue to check up and make sure that we can't move these people to, you know, to a commercial area. So I don't want an ordinance that's gonna be on the books for the next 25 years. I think if
No.
we're gonna look at something, we need to make it temporary.
I agree with that, I just wanna throw one quick thing out. Goodland's been a great place for us, we've really enjoyed it, we're not native, we've come in 21, and they've been very welcoming, I love the welcoming spirit of Goodland. I'd like to extend that to these people coming in, and maybe some of them will stay. Our community needs to grow, not shrink, and that really grow when new people come in. And so, let's be welcoming, let's do what we can to help encourage these people to say, this is a great place.
Yeah, I just want to echo the mayor's comments when we first started this. He said Goodland's open for business, and I fully agree with that.
We thought we was only getting 500 people for 6 months, and we thought that was from, Scott City all the way to Denver. And they said, no, we're dropping them here. And that's over mine, and the guy said, you know, minimum a year, probably longer than that, for you. I mean, and now we're told, we got, you know, another 200-300 coming.
Mm-hmm.
On both sides. What can we do?
Good problem to have. Rising water floats all boats.
Well, it's also future things, future builds that are coming potentially as well. That if we can resolve this now, then we can address that when they happen as well.
I've seen enough turn in my business too, the haircutting business. Even some guys were looking for haircuts on Saturday and Sunday low, because that's the time that they're off work. So I'm potentially thinking about doing at least some part-time Saturdays and Sundays.
just, concerned with the actual, code enforcement and the building of potential residential, campgrounds. As far as the electrical goes, that creates potential, fire hazards as, campgrounds potentially are going to be popping up overnight. Are they going to have to go through the permitting process and, seeing that they're actually meeting it? And in the event that they overwhelm the, electrical, system there, who does that fall back on? Does that fall back on the owner of the property, or are we going to require things such as, RV park insurance to cover that?
Zach, do we currently require RV park insurance?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, but I do not believe it is in the code anywhere, but I believe if you're a campground owner without it, you're probably foolish.
I would agree.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm not interested in whatever we create, if we do move forward with it, creating anything that creates an unfair balance, tips the scales in one direction or the other. We want whatever temporary allowance we make to have to do the same things that you guys do, in order to operate. And again, I'm only interested in something temporary, something to get us by, so.
Like all of these would be, all these residential campgrounds would be shut down in 2 years. They wouldn't be a
Or
thing
whatever.
anymore.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's
Or whatever time frame we can.
whatever time frame we
We
talk
get
about.
from
Yeah.
the sources that we have.
Yeah.
And then you call them fly-by-nighters, or they pop up in the middle of the night. That's the whole purpose of us following through with this, so that we can weed out the ones that could potentially pop up. We don't want that. We want them to follow, like it's been stated, everything you guys go through with electrical, sewer, water, whatever it may be, they have to follow that as well.
Even with a 2-year restriction, well, a 2-year limit, I can tell from where we have done, expansion in the campground, where we put, expansion on the back half, it took about 3 years for the ground to finally settle, for the campers to quit sinking through and making ruts in the ground. So that was about a 3-year process just for it to compact and settle down.
Yeah, I certainly think running an RV park is not something that somebody is gonna decide tomorrow that they wanna do. And they're gonna wake up and say they're gonna do this, cause the job that you guys do is, it's not easy. You're not gonna just throw together and put something in your backyard. I feel like, you know, when we talked to Joni here, this is not a place that just popped up overnight, so. I guess that's
Yep.
my 2 cents, I guess, but.
And the police department does keep an eye on, I mean, if we see a camper in a backyard and we know it's not supposed to be there, cause we'll have a list as well. I mean, me and Zach talk to each other more than we probably talk to anybody else. He's called me 3 times today, I think.
It's only
So,
been 3.
But, I mean, the police department also helps, assist in that. If we see something, I'll call Zach. I have no problem calling him after hours, and he answers, and vice versa, so. If that's a concern for people.
I mean, most of these guys are friendly and they're nice. I have 5 guys living in a house that I have, and they say Goodland's the nicest town they've ever been in. Said, we get waved at by people we don't know, and we wave back, and they're just happy as can be. So these people are, they're here to do a job and then go to the next job. They're not here to cause any other thing, for the most part.
Well, thank you, everybody, for sharing your thoughts and opinions tonight. What a great civil discussion we had, and it was great to get some input from the community. I think one of the frustrations I have sometimes when I sit in this chair is we have to make decisions and we get very little input from the community sometimes, and it's nice to have a group of people come and share their thoughts and opinions with us. So thank you. We'll work on this. We'll try to do what we feel like is best for Goodland, and we'll keep moving forward. But I think that's the direction. If you could start to craft something that we could go over and take a look at next meeting.
Sounds good.
Anything else from the commissioners? Okay, thank you, everybody. Move on to item 9, reports. Kent, you have barely got to talk tonight. We'll let you go over your city manager's report.
Not much there, cause he didn't have much, so. The monthly activity report for the police department's in the packet. 24/7, their trash compactor is in place now. And it's not the ordinance, it will be their agreement, or the agreement with, in the can, that we'll have to have an amendment to. Cause, right now it only states Walmart within the in the cans, franchise agreement, so we'll have that at next meeting.
We have any questions for our city manager? Okay. Move on to commissioner reports. I'll start on my left with Commissioner Redland.
I have nothing to report.
Commissioner Howard.
I'd just like to thank everybody that showed up tonight and put their comments in. It's greatly appreciated to see that the community is interested in the community and just not here to be here. I mean, we need everybody here to make Goodland better and to grow. And that's what all of us want, is Goodland to grow, and it takes all of us. And I appreciate that in everybody. But otherwise, that's it.
Commissioner Myers.
I have nothing at this time.
Commissioner Artser.
I have just a couple. I wanted to say thank you to the Parks Department for getting that big old tree out of Chambers that fell over the weekend. That was crazy. It right across from our house. I'm surprised we didn't hear it, but like half the tree fell down. And then I guess this could have been on questions for Kent, but do we have any follow up on potential recordings for the SCCD meetings? I had brought it up probably a month ago now.
It is difficult. I know you may not realize what it takes for us to record, to get that posted. We don't currently have that ability with SCCD. That's actually would be an SCCD decision for their board.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And for the mayor's report, I just want to give some praise to our high school athletic director, Marty Lehman, who was selected as the athletic director of the week by the Kansas State High School Activities Association. He is, him and his family are a blessing to this community, and you can't ask for a guy who cares about our students and our community more than Marty and his family. So thank you, Marty, for what you do. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Redland.
Second.
A second by Commissioner Myers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.